Something that they don't tell you about testosterone is sex is going to be very different. Hey, what's up? My name is Kade, and today I'm gonna talk to you about how testosterone changed my sex life forever, and more of the negative sides to that. Plus, I'll be sharing with you a few tips that my doctor recommended, as well as my thoughts on those tips. I feel totally confident talking about this type of thing, but when I am talking about things that are going on below the belt, it may be triggering to some trans folk, so trigger warning, just a heads up. So thinking back to when I first started testosterone, within the first few weeks, I noticed everything was feeling different below the belt. So of course I got my cute little dick that was starting to grow, but I realized that everything, like my front hole, and I'm just gonna clarify, I'm gonna say front hole from now on, but it's a vagina. So front hole equals vagina, just so everyone knows, and there's no like miscommunication, and it'll be less triggering for everyone, including me. So within the first few weeks of starting testosterone, I noticed that whenever there was any type of penetration going on when I was being a bottom and using my front hole, it was so painful. It became so sensitive. So yes, it was nice that my cute little dick was really sensitive at the time, but in the front, like everything hurt so bad. I remember that I was trying to really take my time to, warm up and have a good time, but nothing would work. If you've been on testosterone and you've experienced some pain like this, I highly recommend you talk to your doctor, but also tell me what your experience is like and comment below if you have any tips. Let's make this a conversation, because among the trans community, I feel like this is not talked about enough. Going back to how it felt, I remember I would just try to relax. I would even just, with my partner at the time, would just try and even put a pinky in, and it was just so painful. So for the longest time, I was just a top. Like, that's it. Or, nothing would happen, which I don't care, and it's fine as well. But I just felt like I had to close that part of myself off because anything was painful. Honestly, it was getting pretty annoying because I wanted to enjoy this part of myself, but I felt like I could not at all. So eventually I was just sick of the frustration. I wanted to be able to enjoy getting again, honestly, but I felt like I couldn't. And at the time I was very adamantly against anal because of the stigma and stereotypes around it. So I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do that, and I'm just gonna try to see if I can make this work. With all the tips online, which there was not a lot at the time, I was like, I don't know, so I just went to my doctor. The amazing thing about my doctor is she works a lot with trans folk on the whole spectrum, so she is very knowledgeable, and she had 3 different tips for me. I'll share with you the tips that she gave to me and my feedback with each of those tips because I have different mixed feelings. After I went to the doctor, she was further explaining to me that once you start testosterone, you are able to grow a cute little peen, but your front hole will experience atrophy. Any type of friction or movement, there's a lot more likelihood to have tearing, which makes it super uncomfortable and burn and lead to all those type of things. So keeping that in mind, here are the 3 tips that she gave to me, and I'm gonna share with you. Number 1, so she recommended trying more lube, and I highly advocate for that. Honest to God, everyone needs more lube in your life. If you are being sexual in any type of way, even if you're just touching yourself, you need lube in your life. The other super important thing about lube that I was very oblivious to at first is how there are a few different types of lube. In the future, I'll be talking about how there are silicone-based lubes, there's oil-based lubes, and there are water-based lubes, as well as blends of all 3. I'll talk about that more in the future, but for now, I want to talk about my favorite water-based lube, because a lot of the time, especially when I first started testosterone, and even to this day, a lot of different lubes are so painful to me. Even putting a little bit of lube down there, even just on my dick, it would burn, and that's even before any friction. So I highly suggest you look into a few different types of lubes, but in my experience, water-based lubes, especially the one I'm about to share with you, have been like the best. So a lot of the time, why I do not like water-based lubes is they actually dry out really fast. That's why I highly recommend checking out Sliquid, the Sliquid Sassy brand, just because it actually is made for people that are assigned female at birth, and it actually makes it to where if you have a lot more sensitivities down there, you're a lot less likely to have any pain or anything like that. Plus, if you can see the thickness, it's like fairly thick, and it will be able to actually stay for quite a long time. So I highly recommend you check this lube out. I'll link everything I'm talking about in the video below. Don't forget to use the 10% off discount code because savings are great. But check out this lube, especially if you've ever had any type of pain or sensitivities. But once again though, I want to clarify, if you are having pain during sex, make sure to talk to your doctor. Tip number 2. I was so resistant to tip number 2 because of the stigma and stereotypes, but I was just ready to take it in the ass eventually. The way that my doctor actually recommended this, had me dead. It was so funny. She was just talking casually in her very strong accent, just saying, like anal or something like that. It was so funny, and I was like, I mean, no, but I'll give it a try. For a long time, I resisted against it, especially because I didn't want to do something with anyone I didn't feel safe and completely comfortable with. So I held back a long time on the anal thing, and I'll come back around to that in a moment. But her third tip that she gave was to try some medicine. I held back from trying the steroidal medicine for a long time because, one, I hate putting synthetic things or anything like that into my body, and it usually makes me very uncomfortable. I don't even like to use any type of painkillers, so I was very resistant to that whole ideal, as well as since this medication, how it had to be used, as it was a cream that had to be inserted inside and had to do that a few times a week. It sounded horrible, but I wanted to give it a try. I was willing to try anything, honestly, and so I bought it. Since it was made specifically for me, the insurance couldn't cover it at all, as well as it was real pricey. And so I gave it a try consistently for a few months, but it was just not worth it to me. And the reason why I bring this up is you might, if you are experiencing pain, this might be something that might be worth it to you, so talk to your doctor. Going back to tip number 2, so I had such a long time where I was just topping and I didn't really let anyone touch me as much in that type of way. But as time went along, I finally found someone that I actually felt comfortable enough and willing to try it, because Easton is such an amazing boyfriend and makes me feel comfortable and safe enough to try new things with. And so I was like, you know, something that my doctor, I remember bringing this up, I was like, you know, something that my doctor recommended, because, you know, I want a bottom as well. Let's try anal, except I'll actually be the bottom this time. I'm hoping my boyfriend doesn't get too mad at me for calling out him for being a bottom at the beginning, but that's okay. It's fine, because I realized that, wow, I actually do like bottoming. It took a lot of time and practice, and so here are my tips on like how I got started as well. At first I was like, I want to try this out, and so you know how my doctor recommended bottoming, babe, like let's give this a try. So I saw a lot of recommendations about getting some really high quality lube, so I got that liquid that I really like, as well as using butt plugs. And butt plugs, once again, I always thought were really scary and a foreign concept to me, but once I started to use it and I got more comfortable with it, I was like, okay. Because like the whole like society and stigma around anal, I feel like, especially in the household I grew up in, was very much frowned upon, but I think that it's something that's worth giving a try. And so like the first butt plug that I got, because I was like, if I'm gonna take some like a cock, I need something a little bigger around. So I was like, oh, let's go for it and take it really slow. So I really like this one. You can get it at earlytobed.com as well. Use that 10% off discount code to get the extra savings. But I really like this because even if I just was like chilling here and went down further, with time it was just a nice way to ease into it. And then with time, my boyfriend and I were able to use that harness. With time, my boyfriend and I were able to use that jock harness, and he was able to, you know, really give it to me with a few different toys that I have and, you know, strap-ons that I have. So I think that being willing to try new things and giving things a chance is what was my biggest takeaway from all of this, and I hope that that is yours as well. So I have 2 different takeaways I want you to get from this video. Number 1, if you are experiencing pain during sex, please talk to your doctor. That's super important. And number 2, don't hold yourself back from trying new things, especially if there's any stigma around specific sexual acts, because what if you're missing out on your new favorite thing? And that's how I've lived my life for a long time, whether it be food, I love trying new foods, or trying new sexual things, or trying new places to go. I think that being able to give yourself that opportunity is so worth it. Tell me in the comments below what was your biggest takeaway from the video. Consider subscribing below if you want to elevate your knowledge on sexuality and gender. As always, you are beautiful. Have an amazing day, and check out my other sex education videos that I will show you in a moment. Peace.